market dust clung to Amara's bare feet as she walked past the stalls, her head lowered to avoid the stares. Her wrapper, patched in 3 places, barely covered her thin frame. Hunger gnawed at her belly, but she had learned to ignore it. What she could not ignore were the whispers. "Look at her!" Zara's voice carried across the market square. "Dressing in rags like a bush rat. How does she even show her face here?" Welcome to Story by TJ, where we bring you real stories about real people facing impossible choices. I'm so glad you're here with us today. Before we dive into this incredible story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. The other women laughed, their jewelry catching the afternoon sun. Amara clutched her basket tighter and kept walking. She had come to buy herbs for her mother, who had been burning with fever for 5 days now. The medicine woman wanted 2 coins. Amara had 3. At the edge of the market, she saw a child sitting alone by the roadside. The boy could not have been more than 6 years old. His belly swollen with hunger, his eyes hollow. He watched the food vendors with the desperate gaze of someone who had forgotten what it felt like to be full. Amara stopped. She looked at the 3 coins in her palm, then at the child, then at the coins again. Her mother needed medicine, but this child needed food today, right now. She pressed 2 coins into the boy's small hand and pointed to the yam seller. "Go, eat." The child's face transformed. He ran toward the vendor without looking back, and Amara felt something warm bloom in her chest despite her own hunger. She would find another way to get the 2nd coin for her mother's medicine. That was foolish. Amara spun around. An old woman stood behind her, though Amara had not heard anyone approach. She was ancient, her face a map of wrinkles, her eyes like pools of still water that had witnessed centuries. She leaned on a walking stick carved with strange symbols. "Excuse me, grandmother?" Amara said, using the respectful title for elders. "Giving away what little you have," the old woman said, but her voice was not unkind. "Most would call it foolish. I call it rare. I only did what anyone would do." "No, child." The old woman stepped closer. "You did what almost no one would do. I have been watching you. 3 markets I have seen you share when you have nothing. Defend those who cannot defend themselves. Refuse to let bitterness poison your heart despite your suffering." Amara shifted uncomfortably. "I should go. My mother is waiting." "Yes, your mother. The fever will take her in 2 days if nothing changes." The old woman reached into a cloth bag hanging from her shoulder. "I have something for you." She pulled out a bundle wrapped in palm leaves and handed it to Amara. The leaves felt warm, almost alive, pulsing gently against Amara's palms. "Open it when you are alone," the old woman said. "What is inside will change your life. But you must listen carefully to what I am about to tell you." Amara unwrapped the bundle. Inside lay underwear unlike anything she had ever seen. The fabric shimmered like moonlight dancing on water, shifting colors as she moved it, silver to blue to deep purple. It felt impossibly soft, yet strong, woven with threads that seemed to contain tiny stars. "It is beautiful," Amara whispered. "But grandmother, I cannot accept this. It is too precious." "You can. You must." The old woman's voice became stern, urgent. "But hear my words, Amara. Wear this always. Never remove it. Not for washing, not for comfort, not for love. Not for any reason the world gives you. The day you take it off, everything changes." "I do not understand." "You do not need to understand. You only need to obey." The old woman gripped Amara's arm with surprising strength. "Do you promise me? Do you swear on your mother's life that you will never remove it?" The intensity in those ancient eyes frightened Amara, but something deeper called to her. Trust, faith, the same instinct that had made her give away her last coins to a starving child. "I promise, grandmother. I swear I will never take it off." The old woman released her arm and smiled, revealing teeth too white and perfect for someone so ancient. "Good. Put it on now before you go home. And remember, child, some gifts come with conditions. But they are still gifts. Amara looked around the empty edge of the market, then quickly changed into the underwear beneath her wrapper. The moment the fabric touched her skin, warmth flooded through her body. Strength flowed into her tired limbs. The constant ache of hunger disappeared. She looked up to thank the old woman, but she had vanished. The road was empty. Only the wind moved through the palm trees, carrying a whisper that might have been words. Remember your promise. Amara walked home in a daze, her body feeling lighter than it had in years. When she entered their small hut, she found her mother sitting up, the fever broken, color returning to her cheeks. Amara, her mother said, voice weak but clear. I feel better. The fever is gone. Thank the ancestors, Amara whispered, embracing her. That night, Amara lay on her sleeping mat, exhausted but unable to sleep. The underwear still felt warm against her skin, as comfortable as a second skin. She thought about the old woman's warning, about the strange magic she could feel humming through the fabric. As the moon rose high, Amara finally closed her eyes. When sleep took her, she dreamed of rivers and serpents and ancient voices, singing songs in languages she had never learned but somehow understood. She did not see the 3 gold coins that materialized beneath her mat, gleaming in the darkness. What magic lives in the underwear? And why must Amara never take it off? Stay with us to find out. Drop a comment if you think Amara made the right choice accepting the gift. The transformation happened so gradually that at first, Amara thought she was imagining it. Welcome to Story by TJ, where we bring you real stories about real people facing impossible choices. I'm so glad you're here with us today. Before we dive into this incredible story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. On the morning after she received the underwear, Amara woke to find her patched wrapper had somehow mended itself overnight. The tears were gone, the fabric stronger, the colors brighter. She touched it in disbelief, then discovered the gold coins beneath her mat. Mother, she called out. Look, her mother, now fully recovered from the fever, stared at the coins in wonder. Where did these come from? I think they are a gift. Amara did not mention the old woman or the magic underwear. Something told her the gift was meant to be kept secret. Within a week, more changes came. A trader passing through the village offered Amara work sorting his goods. The pay was generous. A neighbor gave her a young goat as thanks for helping with her children. The goat quickly multiplied into 3. Within a month, Amara had enough money to buy new cloth not just for herself, but for her mother too. Her small vegetable garden, which had always struggled in the poor soil, suddenly burst with life. Yams grew fat and plentiful. Her tomatoes were the reddest in the village. It is as if everything you touch turns to blessing, her mother said one evening, watching Amara count coins from selling their surplus crops. But it was not just fortune that grew. Amara herself changed. Her skin, once dull from malnutrition, began to glow with health. Her hair, which she had always kept wrapped in a threadbare scarf, grew thick and lustrous. When she walked to the market now, people stopped to stare not with mockery, but with admiration. Who is that? She heard a young man whisper. That is Amara, his friend replied. You know, the poor girl who lived by the river. That cannot be the same person. The attention made Amara uncomfortable. She still remembered the laughter, the whispers, the cruelty of those who had mocked her poverty. She kept her head down and went about her business, grateful for her blessings but wary of the attention they brought. It was on a market day 2 months after receiving the underwear that Kofi arrived in the village. He came with a caravan of merchants, but he was clearly no ordinary trader. His clothes were fine, his bearing confident, his smile warm and genuine. He was setting up a new trading post, he explained to the village elders, and planned to stay for several months. The moment Amara saw him, something shifted in her chest, and when their eyes met across the market square, she knew he felt it too. Forgive me, Kofi said, approaching her stall where she sold vegetables. I do not mean to be forward, but I must know your name. Amara, she said quietly. Amara, he repeated, as if tasting the word. It suits you. Beautiful name for a beautiful woman. She felt heat rise to her cheeks. You flatter me, stranger. Kofi. My name is Kofi, and I speak only truth. He purchased tomatoes he did not need and returned every day that week to buy more. Their conversations grew longer. Kofi was educated, well-traveled, kind. He told her stories of the coast, of great cities she had only heard about in tales. He listened when she spoke, truly listened, as if her words mattered. There is something special about you, he said one evening as they walked by the river. Something I cannot quite name. You are unlike anyone I have ever met. Amara's hand unconsciously went to her wrapper, feeling the magic underwear beneath. I am just an ordinary village girl. No, Kofi said firmly. You are extraordinary. But not everyone was pleased with Amara's transformation. Zara, the chief's daughter who had once mocked her, watched Kofi's courtship with growing rage. She had expected Kofi to notice her, to seek her hand. She was the prize of the village, beautiful and wealthy. How could this former beggar girl steal what should have been hers? There is something unnatural about her, Zara hissed to her friends. No one changes like that. From rags to riches in 2 months? From ugly to beautiful overnight? It is not possible. You are just jealous, one friend said. I am not jealous. I am suspicious. Zara's eyes narrowed as she watched Amara and Kofi together. There is a secret, and I will find it. 3 months after their meeting, Kofi came to Amara's home with formal intentions. He knelt before her mother and asked for Amara's hand in marriage. I know I am not from this village, he said. And I know I have only known your daughter for a short time, but I have never been more certain of anything in my life. I love her. I will cherish her. I will give her the life she deserves. Amara's mother looked at her daughter, tears in her eyes. Amara, is this what you want? Amara thought of the magic underwear of the old woman's warning. Never remove it, not even for love. Could she truly marry Kofi while keeping such a secret? But when she looked at his hopeful face, she knew her answer. Yes, mother. Yes, I will marry him. That night, as the village celebrated their engagement, Zara stood in the shadows. When the dancing and drinking finally ended, she slipped away into the forest, following a path she had walked only once before, years ago, when desperation had driven her to seek help beyond the natural world. The spiritualist's hut sat deep in the trees, surrounded by bones and feathers and dark charms. The old man who lived there dealt in secrets and shadows, in truths that most people feared to know. I need information, Zara said, dropping coins on his table. About a girl named Amara. The spiritualist's cloudy eyes studied her. This is about jealousy. This is about truth. She is hiding something. I want to know what it is. The old man reached for his divining bones, casting them across the table. He studied the pattern, his expression darkening. There is magic around this girl. Old magic. Powerful magic. Something she wears gives her power. What is it? How do I stop it? The spiritualist gathered his bones, suddenly nervous. This magic is not meant to be disturbed. Leave it alone, girl. But Zara leaned forward, her voice deadly serious. I did not come here for warnings. I came here for weapons. Tell me how to break her power, or I will tell the village what you do in this hut. The old man's jaw tightened. Finally, he spoke. If she removes whatever carries the magic, the spell will break. But be warned, there will be consequences. Magic this strong always has a price. Zara smiled as she left the hut. She did not care about consequences or prices. She only cared about destroying the girl who had stolen her future. The wedding day arrived with the kind of celebration the village had not seen in years. Welcome to Story by TJ, where we bring you real stories about real people facing impossible choices. I'm so glad you're here with us today. Before we dive into this incredible story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Colorful fabrics hung between the compound trees. The smell of jollof rice, fried plantains, and goat meat filled the air. Drummers had come from 3 villages away, their rhythms making even the elders want to dance. Children ran through the crowds, their laughter mixing with the music. Amara sat in the bridal chamber, surrounded by women who prepared her for the ceremony. They braided her hair with golden thread, painted her hands with henna, and dressed her in the finest wrapper Kofi had bought from the coast. The fabric was deep indigo, embroidered with silver patterns that caught the light. But beneath all the finery, Amara wore the magic underwear. She had not removed it once since the old woman gave it to her. Not to wash, not to change. Not even when her mother had questioned why she never seemed to need fresh undergarments. "Time for your bath, Amara," said Mama Adana, the eldest woman and leader of the bridal preparations. "We must cleanse you properly before the ceremony." Amara's heart jumped. I have already bathed, Mama." The women exchanged glances.
Mama Adana frowned.
"That is not how it is done, child. The bride must be bathed by the women. It is tradition. It is necessary. Please, I am very modest. I prefer to keep my privacy." "Privacy?" Zara's voice came from the doorway. She had inserted herself into the bridal party, claiming it was her duty as the chief's daughter. What kind of bride refuses the sacred bath? Unless she has something to hide. The other women began to whisper. Amara felt panic rising in her chest. "I have nothing to hide. I simply wish to honor my own comfort." "Comfort is not tradition," Mama Adana said, her voice firm but kind. "Come, child. There is nothing to be ashamed of. We are all women here." They began to insist, their hands reaching for her wrapper. Amara pulled away, her mind racing. How could she explain without revealing the magic? How could she refuse without insulting them? "I will bathe," she said quickly. "But alone. Please, give me this one request on my wedding day." The women reluctantly agreed, though their whispers followed Amara as she went to the bathing area behind a woven screen. She carefully washed around the underwear, making sure it stayed in place, making sure no one could see. But Zara watched through a gap in the screen, her eyes narrowing when she saw Amara's strange behavior. The spiritualist had been right. There was something she wore, something she refused to remove. The ceremony was beautiful. Kofi looked at Amara as if she were the sun itself, and when they spoke their vows, even the cynical elders wiped tears from their eyes. The couple danced, ate, laughed, and accepted the blessings of everyone present. As evening fell and the celebration continued, Kofi's mother approached Amara. Beside her stood a priestess from the neighboring village, her face painted with white clay, her presence commanding respect. "Amara," Kofi's mother said warmly, though her eyes held a strange intensity. "There is one more tradition we must observe, the purification ritual for new wives. It ensures fertility and protection for the marriage." Amara's blood went cold. "What does this ritual involve?" "It is simple," the priestess said. "You will come to the sacred grove. We will burn special herbs and pray over you. But you must be completely unadorned. No jewelry, no cloth, nothing between you and the ancestors' blessings." "Nothing?" Amara's voice came out as a whisper. "Nothing at all," Kofi's mother confirmed. "It is how it has always been done. My mother did it. I did it. Now you must do it." Amara looked around desperately for her own mother, for anyone who might help her escape this, but everyone was watching, waiting. Kofi approached, concern on his face. "Is something wrong, my wife?" Amara struggled to find words. "I am not comfortable with this ritual." Kofi's expression shifted, confusion replacing his joy. "Why not? It is just a tradition, a simple blessing." "I know, but I cannot explain. Please, Kofi, trust me. I cannot do this." The celebration around them began to quiet as people noticed the tension. Kofi's mother stepped forward, her warmth replaced by steel. "Are you refusing our family traditions? On your wedding day?" "I do not mean disrespect," Amara said, her voice shaking. But I must decline this particular ritual. What are you hiding? Zara's voice rang out across the compound. She had been waiting for this moment. A proper wife has nothing to hide from her husband's family. Unless, she paused dramatically, unless there is something unnatural about her. The crowd murmured. Kofi took Amara's hands, his face a mixture of confusion and hurt. Amara, talk to me. What is going on? Why are you acting this way? I cannot explain, Amara said, tears streaming down her face. Please just trust me. Trust. Kofi's mother's voice turned cold. We are asking you to participate in a sacred ritual, and you refuse without explanation. What kind of wife begins a marriage with secrets? Maybe she is not who she claims to be, Zara added, her voice poisonous. Maybe everything about her transformation has been a lie. Maybe she used dark magic to trap Kofi. That is not true, Amara cried. Then prove it, Zara challenged. Submit to the ritual. Show us you have nothing to hide. All eyes turned to Amara. Her mother pushed through the crowd, reaching for her daughter. Amara, what is happening? But before Amara could answer, Kofi spoke, his voice heavy with disappointment. I defended you, Amara. When people whispered about your sudden wealth, your sudden beauty, I told them it was meaningless gossip. I said your character was what mattered. But now, on our wedding day, you refuse a simple tradition and will not tell me why. The hurt in his eyes broke something in Amara's heart. Here was the man she loved, the man who had chosen her, who had promised her a new life, and she was causing him pain and embarrassment in front of his entire family. The old woman's warning echoed in her mind. Never remove it. Not for love. But what was the point of the magic if it cost her the love she had found? What was the point of blessings if they built walls between her and her husband? Maybe the old woman had been testing her faith, but surely love was more important than superstition. I will do the ritual, Amara heard herself say. Her mother gasped. Amara, no. It is fine, mother. Amara wiped her tears and straightened her shoulders. I will prove I have nothing to hide. The priestess led her to the sacred grove, with Kofi's mother and several elder women following. The moon hung full and heavy in the sky, casting silver light through the trees. They built a small fire and began burning herbs that filled the air with sweet, sharp smoke. Remove your garments, daughter, the priestess instructed. Amara's hands trembled as she unwrapped her wedding cloth. Beneath it, she wore a simple wrapper. Beneath that, the magic underwear glowed faintly in the moonlight, visible only to her. She hesitated, her hand on the waistband. It is just superstition, she whispered to herself. Our love is stronger than old magic. She closed her eyes and pulled the underwear down her legs. For a moment, nothing happened. The women began their prayers, and Amara felt a rush of relief. She had been foolish. The old woman had been testing her fear, not giving her a true warning. Then the burning started. It began in her legs, a fire racing through her veins. Amara screamed, falling to the ground. Her skin rippled, darkened, began to shine in the firelight. The women around her cried out in horror, backing away. What is happening? Kofi's mother shrieked. Amara looked down at her legs and watched them fuse together, watched scales emerge from her skin, green and gold and terrible. Her fingers began to lengthen, her nails becoming claws. The transformation crept up her body like a living thing. Nu, nu, nu. Amara screamed, but her voice was changing too, becoming something between human speech and a serpent's hiss. The women fled the grove, their screams bringing the entire wedding party running. Kofi burst through the trees and stopped dead, his face frozen in shock and horror. There, writhing on the ground in the sacred grove, was his bride. But she was no longer fully human. She was becoming a snake. And standing at the edge of the clearing, materializing from the shadows like smoke, was the old woman. Her eyes held no surprise, only infinite sadness. I warned you, child, she said softly, her voice carrying to everyone present. I warned you never to remove it. Now you must face what you truly are. What is Amara's true nature? Can the transformation be stopped? Comment below if you think Kofi will stand by her. Chaos erupted in the sacred grove. Welcome to Story by TJ, where we bring you real stories about real people facing impossible choices. I'm so glad you're here with us today. Before we dive into this incredible story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Women screamed and ran. Men grabbed weapons, sticks, knives, anything they could find. Children cried in their mother's arms as the wedding celebration turned into pandemonium. Amara lay on the ground, half transformed, her lower body completely serpent now, her upper body still human but covered in spreading scales. "Kill it!" someone shouted. "It is a demon. She has cursed us all." Kofi stood frozen, his face drained of color, unable to move toward or away from the creature his bride was becoming. His mother clutched his arm, pulling him back. "Stay away from that thing. Please," Amara begged, her voice distorted but still recognizable. Tears streamed down her changing face. "Please, Kofi. It is still me." But Kofi said nothing. He only stared, his expression a mixture of horror, betrayal, and something Amara could not name. The old woman walked calmly into the center of the chaos, and her presence commanded instant silence. The air itself seemed to grow heavier, colder. People stopped running, stopped shouting, held by an invisible force that demanded their attention. "Listen," the old woman said, her voice cutting through the fear like a blade through water. "Listen, and I will tell you the truth about this child." Amara's mother pushed through the crowd, falling to her knees beside her daughter. "What have they done to you? What is happening?" "What is happening," the old woman said, "is the consequence of breaking a sacred promise. But to understand that consequence, you must understand where this girl came from." She raised her walking stick, and images began to form in the smoke from the sacred fire. The crowd gasped as they saw scenes from the past, playing out like shadows on a curtain. 20 years ago, the old woman began, there was a young fisherman who came to the river every day. He was kind, gentle, honest. And one day, he caught the attention of a river spirit, a being of water and magic who had watched humans for centuries but never loved one. Until him. The smoke showed a beautiful woman rising from the river, her skin shimmering like water in sunlight, her eyes the deep green of river stones. The fisherman stood on the bank, his net forgotten, transfixed by her beauty. "The spirit took human form and walked among you," the old woman continued. "She married the fisherman. She bore him a child. For a brief time, she knew human happiness." Amara's mother let out a sob. "No. Cannot be." "Yes," the old woman said gently. "Your husband, Amara's father, married a river spirit, and you, Amara, are the child of that union. You are neither fully human nor fully spirit. You are both. You are neither." The crowd murmured, fear mixing with wonder. Kofi finally found his voice. "Then why does she look human? Why is she only now transforming?" "Because the Council of Spirits does not permit such unions," the old woman said, her voice heavy with old grief. "When they discovered what had happened, they demanded punishment. The river spirit was forced to return to her realm, forbidden from ever seeing her child again. And the child." The old woman looked directly at Amara, and for the first time, something like tears shone in those ancient eyes. The child was cursed. Cursed to live as a serpent, a creature belonging to neither water nor land, until she could earn her humanity through suffering and selfless compassion. "But she has been human all her life," Amara's mother protested. "She was born human. She grew up human." "No," the old woman said. "She grew up as a snake. Do you not remember? For the first 5 years of her life you kept her hidden. You told the village she was sick, too weak to be seen. You built a special room where you kept her, where you fed her and loved her despite what she was." Amara's mother collapsed, weeping. The memories she had tried to forget came flooding back. The scales, the serpent tongue, The way her baby daughter would coil around her arm instead of being held like a normal child. When Amara was 5 years old, the old woman continued, I came to you. I had been watching, testing, hoping, and this child, even as a serpent, showed kindness. She would protect smaller creatures. She would share her food. She showed a spirit's heart in a serpent's body. So I gave her a choice. The old woman turned to address the whole crowd now. I offered to give her human form, human life, human blessings. But it came with a condition. She had to wear the magic I wove into that underwear, the fabric that held her human shape. And she could never remove it until she passed the final test. What test? Kofi asked, his voice barely a whisper. The test of self-acceptance, the old woman said. She had to choose to be herself, even when the world demanded she be something else. She had to refuse to trade her true nature for acceptance or approval or love. Because only when she could accept what she was, could she truly become human by choice, not by magic. But I failed, Amara said, her voice breaking. I removed it. I chose to fit in, to be accepted. I was weak. You were human, the old woman said softly. You made the choice that most humans make every day. You traded your truth for belonging. And now you are neither human by choice nor serpent by nature. You are trapped between. Kofi stepped forward, his face anguished. Is there any way to reverse it? Any way to save her? The old woman studied him for a long moment. There is one way, but it requires a sacrifice that few would be willing to make. Tell me, Kofi said. Whatever it is, I will do it. Will you? The old woman's gaze was piercing. You have just discovered that the woman you married is not what you thought. That she is part spirit, part serpent, born of magic and cursed by ancient laws. Most men would run. Most men would see her transformation and feel only betrayal. Yet you ask how to save her. I love her, Kofi said, and the simplicity of his words silenced the murmuring crowd. I do not understand what she is or what has happened, but I love who she is. The woman who shares her last coins with starving children. The woman who works hard and treats everyone with kindness. The woman who tried to protect a secret to avoid causing fear. That woman is still here, no matter what form she wears. Tears flowed freely down Amara's scaled cheeks. Kofi. The old woman nodded slowly. Then hear the price of redemption. Someone who loves her must take her place in the river spirit realm for one full moon cycle. 28 days in a world not meant for humans, where every moment will test your resolve, your sanity, your very soul. If you waver, if you break, if you decide she is not worth the price, you will both be trapped as serpents forever. And if I do not waver? Kofi asked. If your love proves pure, if you endure the full cycle, then the curse will be broken. Amara will become fully human, not by magic, but by the power of love freely given. She will no longer need the underwear. She will be free. Kofi did not hesitate. He stepped forward and knelt beside Amara, taking her clawed hand in his. I will go.
No, Amara protested.
You do not know what you are promising. The spirit realm could destroy you. Then it destroys me, Kofi said simply. But I will not abandon you. Not on our wedding day. Not ever. The old woman raised her walking stick high. So be it. The trial begins now. The ground beneath Kofi began to ripple like water. His feet sank into earth that had become liquid. He looked at Amara one last time, his eyes full of love and determination, and then the ground swallowed him whole. Amara screamed his name, but he was gone. The old woman looked down at the half-transformed girl. 28 days, child. He has 28 days to prove his love is stronger than fear, stronger than doubt, stronger than reality itself. Now we wait. Now you both face the greatest test of all. The crowd slowly dispersed, leaving Amara in the grove with her mother and the old woman. The wedding was over. The celebration was finished. Now there was only waiting and hope and the terrible uncertainty of what would happen when the moon completed its cycle. Kofi emerged into a world that should not exist. Welcome to Story by TJ, where we bring you real stories about real people facing impossible choices. I'm so glad you're here with us today. Before we dive into this incredible story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Water surrounded him, but he could breathe. Light filtered down from somewhere above, turning everything into shades of blue and green and silver. Buildings made of coral and pearl rose from the river bottom, their architecture impossible, beautiful, wrong. Creatures that were almost fish but not quite swam past. Their eyes too intelligent, their movements too purposeful. This was the river spirit realm, and Kofi was utterly, terrifyingly alone. A figure approached through the water. A woman whose beauty was painful to look at, whose presence made Kofi's chest ache with a longing he could not explain. Her hair flowed like currents. Her skin shimmered like sunlight on waves. Her eyes held the depth of oceans. "Welcome, mortal," she said, her voice like water over stones. "I am Alakin's daughter, guardian of this realm. You have come to prove your love. Let us see if you are worthy." "I am ready," Kofi said, though fear threatened to choke him. "Ready?" The spirit woman laughed, a sound like rushing rivers. "You understand nothing, but you will. The trial begins." The first test came immediately. The water around Kofi rippled, and suddenly he was no longer in the spirit realm. He was back in his village, in his home, but everything was different. A woman sat by the fire, beautiful, kind-faced, completely human. She looked up and smiled at him with genuine warmth. "There you are, husband. Dinner is almost ready." Kofi stared at her. She was not Amara. She was someone else entirely. But she felt real, solid, normal.
No Magic, no Curses, no Impossible Secrets.
Just a simple life with a simple wife. "This is your choice," the spirit woman's voice whispered in his ear, though she was nowhere to be seen. "Forget the snake girl. Stay here. Live a normal life. No one would blame you." Kofi closed his eyes. For a moment he was tempted. This was what he had thought he wanted. A normal marriage, a normal life. No complications, no supernatural curses, no fear. But then he remembered Amara's laugh. The way she always shared what little she had. The light in her eyes when she talked about her dreams. The way she had tried to protect him from the truth even at the cost of her own happiness. "No," Kofi said firmly. "This is not my life. This is not my wife." The illusion shattered like glass. He was back in the spirit realm, and the spirit woman regarded him with something like respect. Interesting. Most fail the first test. They choose comfort over truth. You chose differently. "How many more tests?" Kofi asked. "As many as it takes to break you," she said with a smile that was not quite kind. "This is only the beginning." The days blurred together. Kofi lost count of how many tests he faced. He was shown Amara betraying him with other men. He was tortured with visions of her laughing at his foolishness. He was placed in situations where saving himself meant abandoning her, where survival required him to admit his love was a mistake. He endured physical trials too, swimming through currents that tried to rip him apart, fighting creatures that should not exist, solving riddles that made his head ache and his heart despair. Through it all, he held on to one thought. Amara is worth this. She is worth everything. Meanwhile, in the human world, Amara waited in agony. Her mother had built a shelter in the grove where the transformation had occurred, refusing to let the villagers drive her daughter away. Amara remained half-serpent, unable to complete the transformation in either direction, frozen in a state of between. 20 days, her mother said one evening, marking another line on the wall. 8 more to go. But the village was not idle. Led by Zara's father, the chief, a faction had formed demanding that Amara be killed before she brought more curses upon them. Others, moved by compassion or by memories of Amara's kindness, defended her right to wait for Kofi's return. Zara herself had fallen silent. The revelation of Amara's true nature had shocked her, but more shocking was her own role in causing this disaster. Guilt ate at her, though she told no one. On the 23rd day, Zara came to the grove alone. She found Amara coiled beneath a tree, her eyes distant with grief and worry. I came to say I am sorry, Zara said quietly. Amara's head turned slowly.
Sorry.
For everything. For my jealousy. For pushing you to remove the underwear. For... Zara's voice broke. For causing all of this. You did not cause this, Amara said, though her voice held no warmth. I made my own choice. I was weak. No, Zara said firmly. You were human. You wanted to be accepted, to be loved, to fit in. That is not weakness. That is what we all want. She struggled with the words. I have spent my whole life trying to be what others expect. To be the perfect chief's daughter. The most beautiful. The most desired. And I hated you for having what I could not have, genuine love, earned through kindness rather than status. I was the weak one, not you. Amara said nothing, but tears slid down her scaled cheeks. If there is anything I can do, Zara continued, anything to help fix this, please tell me. There is nothing, Amara whispered. Now there is only waiting. Either Kofi returns or he does not. Either we both become serpents forever or... She could not finish the thought. In the spirit realm, Kofi faced his final test. He stood in a vast chamber of water and light. Before him appeared 3 doorways. Above each doorway, words shimmered in a language he should not understand but somehow did. The first doorway read, Forget, walk through and return to your life with no memory of the snake girl. Be free. The second doorway read, Remember, but accept failure. Walk through and live knowing you tried but could not save her. Be forgiven. The third doorway read, Continue to love, despite everything. Walk through and accept both her and yourself, monster and man, forever changed. Be whole. The spirit woman materialized beside him. This is the final choice, mortal. Choose wisely. The first 2 doors will take you home safely. The third... She paused. The third is uncertain. It might save you both. It might doom you both. It requires you to accept that love is not about finding someone perfect, but about choosing someone completely, flaws and all, human and spirit and everything between. Kofi looked at each door. His legs ached from 27 days of trials. His heart was heavy with exhaustion. It would be so easy to walk through the first door, to forget, to be free. But then he thought of Amara's eyes. The way she had looked at him on their wedding day. The woman who had endured a curse since childhood. Who had tried so hard to be good, to be kind, to earn her humanity. She had not asked to be born between worlds. She had only asked to be loved. Kofi walked to the third door and placed his hand on it. I choose love. I choose her. I choose us, whatever we become. The door opened, and light poured through, blinding and terrible and beautiful. When Kofi could see again, he was standing in the sacred grove. The moon hung full and heavy overhead. 28 days had passed. And there, uncoiling from beneath the tree, was Amara. But she was changing again. The scales were falling away like rain. Her serpent body was splitting, reforming, becoming human legs once more. Her claws softened into fingers. Her face returned to the beautiful human face he had fallen in love with. She stood on shaking legs, completely human, completely naked, completely free. Kofi caught her as she stumbled, wrapping his arms around her. You are back, she sobbed. You are really back. I told you, Kofi said, his own tears flowing. I would not abandon you. Not ever. The old woman appeared then, leaning on her walking stick, and for the first time, she was smiling, truly smiling with warmth and pride. You have both passed, she said. Amara, you learned that true humanity is not about perfection or fitting in. Kofi, you learned that true love requires seeing someone completely and choosing them anyway. The curse is broken. The magic is released. She raised her hand, and the magic underwear appeared floating in the air, glowing one final time before dissolving into light. You are free, child, the old woman said to Amara. Fully human by choice, not by magic. The transformation is permanent. You will never need the underwear again. Then the old woman's form began to shimmer, to change, and standing before them was the river spirit from the visions. beautiful, terrible, filled with love and grief. Mother, Amara whispered. Yes, my daughter. I have watched over you in disguise, guided you, tested you. I could not be with you, but I never stopped loving you. And now you are free. Now you are whole. Now you are human by the power of your own heart and the love of a man who sees your true worth. The river spirit stepped forward and kissed her daughter's forehead. Be happy, my child. Be human. Be loved. Be free. And then she was gone, returned to her realm, leaving only ripples in the air where she had stood. The village, drawn by the light, gathered at the grove. They stared at Amara standing fully human, at Kofi beside her, both glowing with the remnants of magic. The chief stepped forward, and even Zara stood behind him, her face wet with tears. We were wrong to fear you, the chief said. We were wrong to judge. If you will have us, we would welcome you both back to the village. Amara looked at Kofi, then at the villagers, then back to her husband. We forgive you, she said simply, because forgiveness, like love, is a choice, and we choose it. 1 year passed like a river flowing to the sea. Welcome to Story by TJ, where we bring you real stories about real people facing impossible choices. I'm so glad you're here with us today. Before we dive into this incredible story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Amara stood at the edge of the river where her mother had once emerged to love a human man. The water sparkled in the late afternoon sun, peaceful and eternal. Behind her, she could hear the sounds of the village, children playing, women chatting at the market, the rhythmic pounding of mortars as they prepared the evening meal. Her life had changed in ways she could never have imagined. The curse was truly broken. She was fully human now, no magic required, no underwear to bind her form. She and Kofi had rebuilt their lives together, their love deeper for having survived such impossible trials. There you are, Kofi's voice came from behind her. He wrapped his arms around her waist, resting his chin on her shoulder. What are you thinking about? Everything, Amara said softly. How different life is now. How close we came to losing it all. Their trading business thrived. Kofi's kindness and Amara's wisdom had made them respected throughout the region. But more than wealth or respect, they had found something rare. A love built on complete truth, on seeing each other fully and choosing each other anyway. Do you ever regret it? Kofi asked. The humanity you fought so hard to keep? Amara turned in his arms to face him. Never. But I learned something important through all of this. Humanity is not about the form we wear. It is about the choices we make, the love we give, the kindness we show. I was more human as a serpent who shared her food than I would have been as a beautiful woman who lived only for herself. A figure approached along the riverbank, Zara, no longer dressed in her finest clothes but in simple working garments. She had changed too over the past year. Her jealousy had been replaced by genuine friendship, her pride by humility. Amara, Kofi, she greeted them warmly. The girls are waiting for you at the meeting house. Amara smiled. She had started teaching young women in the village, not just skills like weaving or cooking, but lessons about self-worth, about choosing truth over acceptance, about the courage it takes to be yourself in a world that constantly demands you be someone else. I will be there soon, Amara promised. Zara nodded and turned to leave, but paused. Thank you, Amara, for forgiving me, for showing me that true beauty comes from who we are, not what we appear to be. After she left, Kofi squeezed Amara's hand. You have changed so many lives. We have changed them together, Amara corrected. Your sacrifice taught the village what true love looks like. They needed to see that. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, Amara felt a familiar presence. She looked at the river and saw, just beneath the surface, a shimmer of light. Her mother watched from the spirit realm, unable to visit but always present, always loving, always proud. Amara placed her hand over her belly, where new life was growing. A child conceived in love, born of choice, carrying both human and spirit blood but free from any curse. This child would know both worlds, both truths, and would be loved completely. Our story is not over, Kofi said, following her gaze to where the light danced on the water. No, Amara agreed. It is only beginning. That evening, as the village gathered for the harvest celebration, Amara stood before the young women she taught. They looked at her with hope and admiration, waiting to hear what wisdom she would share. There will be times, Amara began, when the world asks you to remove your truth like an uncomfortable garment, when people demand you fit into shapes that are not your own, when love or acceptance or belonging seems to require you to betray who you are. She paused, looking at each face. In those moments, remember this. The magic that makes you who you are is not found in what you wear or what you show the world. It is found in the choices you make when no one is watching, in the kindness you give when you have nothing to gain, in the courage to stand in your truth even when it costs you everything. And if we lose everything? A young girl asked. Amara smiled, reaching for Kofi's hand. Then you will discover that what truly matters can never be lost. Love that is real will survive any transformation. Truth that is spoken will set you free. And humanity that is earned through compassion will never be taken away. As the celebration continued into the night, Amara and Kofi slipped away to their home. They lay together in the darkness, listening to the sounds of the village, feeling the weight of all they had survived and all they had yet to build. Do you think she is watching? Kofi whispered, meaning the river spirit mother. Always, Amara said. She watches, she loves, and she knows we chose well. In the depths of the river, the spirit smiled and turned away, finally at peace. Her daughter was free. Her daughter was loved. Her daughter was home. And in the village, life continued as it always had and always would, with joy and sorrow, with mistakes and redemptions, with the eternal hope that love, when chosen freely and given completely, can transform even the deepest curses into the greatest blessings. What did you think of Amara and Kofi's journey? What would you have done in their place? Share your thoughts in the comments below. This story teaches us that true transformation comes from within, not from what we wear or what others think. Never let fear of judgment make you abandon who you are. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe to Story by TJ for more African folktales that inspire, challenge, and remind us of what it means to be truly human. Until next time, choose love, choose truth, and choose yourself. Thank you for watching.